Asterisk. It was just past midnight when Officer Daniels turned the corner of the city park on his routine patrol. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting long, tired shadows across the cracked pavement. The summer night air was heavy with humidity, muffling the usual city noise into a distant hum. He didn't expect to find anyone here, not at this hour. But as he passed the row of benches near the playground, his flashlight caught a shape that didn't belong. Asterisk A bundle of blankets moved barely beside the rusting slide. Asterisk, he slowed his step. It wasn't a pile of clothes or trash like he'd assumed. He got out of his patrol car, approaching cautiously. As he came closer, the small figure stirred. A girl, maybe 12, maybe younger, sat up slowly, blinking against the harsh beam of light. Asterisk, she was wearing an oversized hoodie, pulled tightly over her head. Her shoes didn't match. A plastic grocery bag lay beside her, stuffed with what looked like school books, a half-empty water bottle, and a crushed granola bar. She didn't flinch. She didn't run. Asterisk Daniels lowered his flashlight. "Hey," he said gently, the edge of authority in his voice replaced by something softer. "You okay, sweetheart?" She nodded slowly but didn't speak. "You out here alone?" Asterisk another small nod. Then silence. Asterisk Daniels looked around, as if expecting anyone to step out of the shadows and explain this. A parent. A friend. Anyone who could tell him why a child was curled up alone on a park bench after midnight. Asterisk, but there was no one. Asterisk, he crouched down to her level. "What's your name?" Still no answer. Her eyes were tired, not the kind of tired a child should ever know. Not the kind that comes from staying up late, but the kind that comes from carrying too much for too long. Asterisk, he swallowed hard, suddenly unsure what to do next. He'd seen a lot on the job: violence, grief, pain, but something about the quiet resilience in this girl's silence hit him differently. The park, the patrol, the night, it all faded. There was only her. Asterisk, and he had to know why. The girl sat on the edge of the bench now, her fingers curled tightly around the strap of her bag. She kept her head low, hair falling into her face like a curtain. Officer Daniels took a slow breath, his radio crackling softly at his shoulder before he turned it down. He didn't want to scare her off. Whatever this was, whoever she was, it needed patience. Asterisk, he sat on the edge of the opposite bench, giving her space. Close enough to show he wasn't leaving, far enough not to crowd her. Asterisk, "I'm not here to get you in trouble," he said. "I just want to make sure you're safe." Asterisk, still no answer. She glanced at him once, briefly, and looked away again. Asterisk, "My name's Kevin," he added after a moment. "Kevin Daniels. I've got 2 kids. One's just a little older than you." Asterisk, a long silence. Then quietly, almost too softly to hear. Asterisk, "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers." That voice, small, dry, cautious, made his chest ache. "You're right," he said gently. "That's smart. Your mom or dad teach you that?" Asterisk, she hesitated. Her lips parted, then closed again. Her gaze dropped to her sneakers, one of which had a hole near the toe. Asterisk, "My mom used to." Asterisk Daniels leaned forward just slightly. Is she around?" The girl shook her head. "No." Asterisk, a crack started to form in his professional composure. He'd responded to a lot of situations where kids got left behind: domestic calls, overdoses, evictions, but this one felt different. There was no chaos here. Just quiet. Too quiet. "Where do you stay at night?" he asked softly. Asterisk, her voice came again, a little stronger this time. Asterisk, "Here." Asterisk, "Every night?" She nodded. Daniels felt his throat tighten. His mind raced, running through all the times he'd passed through this park and never noticed her. How many nights had she been hiding in plain sight, hoping not to be seen? Asterisk, "Why here?" he asked. Why not a shelter? Asterisk, the girl's fingers clenched the strap of her bag even tighter. She looked up at him, finally, her eyes sharp despite how tired they were. Asterisk, they won't let me stay with my brother. Asterisk, Daniels blinked. Your brother? Asterisk, he's only 6. They said we had to go to different places. I promised I wouldn't leave him. She paused, then added with quiet finality, so we don't go. It hit him like a punch to the gut. Daniels turned his face away, blinking hard, jaw tightening as he tried to steady his breath. But it was no use. The tears came anyway, hot and fast, surprising even him. Asterisk, she had given up comfort, safety, warmth, just to keep a promise. Not many grown men would have done the same. He looked back at her, his voice rough with emotion. Where is he now? Asterisk, she pointed to the base of the slide, behind the low wall. Daniels moved carefully, quietly, and they're wrapped in another thin blanket. Curled up beneath a faded cartoon backpack was a little boy, fast asleep. Asterisk Daniels stood there in the dark for a long moment, his heart breaking open in ways he hadn't expected. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. Asterisk, this night was going to change. For both of them. Asterisk, the voice on the other end of the phone picked up fast dispatch. Officer Daniels kept his tone low, but firm as he stepped away from the children, just far enough not to wake the boy. Asterisk, I've got 2 juveniles at Crescent Park, he said. No guardians, they're unhoused. One's asleep, maybe 6 years old. The other's his sister, maybe 12. Situations. Delicate. I need a social worker down here, not just patrol. Asterisk, a pause. Then, more quietly, they've been living here, alone. Asterisk, dispatch confirmed they'd send someone, but it could take time. Daniels understood. That's how these things went. He tucked the phone back into his vest pocket and turned to find the girl watching him carefully. Asterisk, she didn't ask what he said. She probably already knew. Asterisk, he walked back over slowly. What's your name? Asterisk, she hesitated again, then finally said, Maya. Asterisk, Daniels nodded. That's your little brother? Asterisk, she nodded. Jaden. Asterisk, he crouched beside the bench now, resting his arms on his knees. Maya, I'm not going to take him away from you. I promise. But I need to make sure both of you are safe, warm, fed. Asterisk, Maya didn't respond, but her eyes stayed on him. Distrustful, guarded, but something was changing just slightly. The wall she'd built, brick by brick, looked like it might have a crack in it. Asterisk, you've been keeping him safe, Daniels said. You did a good job. A big job. One most kids wouldn't even try to take on. Asterisk, Maya looked down at her lap. I didn't know what else to do. Asterisk, Daniels shook his head. You did what was right. Asterisk, she blinked quickly, like she was holding something back. Not fear this time. Not anger. Tears. He looked at Jaden again. The boy was breathing slow and steady, completely unaware of how fragile their situation was, how easily everything could have gone wrong. There were rats in this park some nights. Drug deals. Drunks. Rainstorms. Asterisk, and still, Maya had brought him here every night. Still, she'd kept them together. Asterisk, Daniels stood and walked to his cruiser. He popped the trunk, pulling out a soft blanket. He kept there for emergencies, usually for crash victims or cold nights. When he came back, he draped it gently over Jaden. Melly's eyes followed his every move. I got snacks in the car, he said casually. Granola bars, some juice boxes. You want anything? Asterisk, she shook her head, but her stomach answered. For her, a low growl that echoed louder than either of them expected. Asterisk, Daniels smiled just a little. I'll leave them on the bench. You don't have to take them, but I hope you do. Asterisk, he walked back to the car again, this time slower, giving her space. From the passenger seat, he pulled out a couple of wrapped bars, a small juice, and a bottle of water. He placed them carefully on the bench beside her. Asterisk. Then he sat down again, a few feet away, and looked out at the park. Asterisk. Neither of them spoke for a while. Just the rustling of leaves overhead, and the soft, rhythmic breathing of a boy who trusted his sister more than anything in the world. Asterisk. Maya unwrapped a bar slowly, the crinkle of the wrapper sounding loud in the stillness. She passed it to Jaden, who stirred but didn't wake, instinctively nibbling in his sleep. Asterisk. Daniels didn't look at her. He didn't want to make her feel watched. But he could hear her chewing, and that sound, quiet, tired, human, was the most hopeful thing he'd heard in a long time. Asterisk.